Hello, good afternoon, everybody in Hair Voices. It's your host, Khadijah Davis. Just joking. But this is your host, Khadijah D. And this is the Hair Voices podcast, where we tell stories, give resources, and change the narrative of homelessness. Tell me how I did, guys. But yes, I want you to join our family. Follow us on our social media platforms. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, of course, we're seeing this from, well, hearing this from. We definitely would like if you join our family. Right now, when I'm talking at this current moment, we have 112 members, subscribers on our YouTube channel. Not members, but just subscribers. Love you guys. The heart, the heart, the heart. And what else? We want you to join our family. So if you want to join our family, definitely go down below and you can help us with policies. You can help us with volunteering for when we go to shelters and do events and things like that of that nature. And yes, talk to you later. Bye.
Access to that?
Right.
Are you able to? Do we have any centers that are taking? I know NYU has a concussion center. Mount Sinai
Yeah.
does as well. Um, and it's just, does your do they accept your insurance? Do you know? Can you go up there and ask the questions? It's intimidating to ask for help at times when you don't really know whether or not you need help. Is it I'm getting older and I'm just getting a little more confused, or is it, hey, something is really not right with me?
Right.
Should I write down in a journal what's going on and what I notice? And it's fun, is trusting your gut. I should have been diagnosed a long time ago, and
Right.
I wasn't because I was just, oh, well, maybe I am tired. Well, maybe I am. Well, maybe I am exhausted. Yeah, I do have three kids, and I really do. Or maybe strangulation and the deprivation of oxygen to my brain might have helped with that. But clarity and perspective, it's like looking back is always 2020. And
True.
knowing what I know now and looking back in my life and saying, oh no, that really is not, it's not as, it wasn't as clear then. And do you have time to take care of yourself? Are you worried about if your hierarchy of needs? Do you have a home? Are you worried about where is your house? What about EHV? Is your home going to be taken away from you? Do you have time? My neurodivergent chickie, my neurodivergent child was a late diagnosis. It
Right.
wasn't a typical, oh, at 2 years old, then they were diagnosed with autism and ADHD. No, at 8 years old, because of trauma,
Right.
my child was diagnosed. And at 12 years old, I'm still fighting OPWDD for services for my son, for my child. And how do you do all of these things and still prioritize yourself and
Right.
take the time and go to the hospital and make sure that your brain is working, functioning the way that it's supposed to function when there's children to be fed and they need to be clothed and food on the table and oh, I don't have is my rent going to be paid next month? And the best and worst thing is that EHV, they do not tell you when it's gonna stop. It's like, oh, you need to fill this out by May 1st. So we're in April. So May 1st, are you gonna stop paying? Is my May rent not gonna be paid? Do I have to have that conversation with my landlord?
That's
There
crazy.
are landlords that are moving funny now
Right.
because they know that this is a thing that happened, that are isolating tenants now a
Right.
month ago when that news dropped because they said, oh, well, if I'm not getting paid, I guess I should start making those complaints now so I can. free up the unit. And it's
Wow.
terrible to say, but it's true.
Right. And this is the thing. I think NYCHA, whoever's listening, hopefully gets somebody's hands on NYCHA. It's just not a voucher. Is people behind the voucher, their families, their individuals who have, especially with the DV population, who has went through trauma, right? And this was their way out. She said she was on a waiting list for a while and nothing. This was basically saving grace for her to make sure that her and her family can have a peace of mind and sleep at night and be safe. This is just not a regular, oh, it's 5,200 people on this program, and it's like, it's not 52. No, it's way more than that. If you think about the families in the situation, let's
Yeah.
be honest. We have to
Yeah.
stop thinking about people as just numbers and like, oh, whatever. We got to think of them as individual, how they are part of our community, how they help out, what they advocate for, where the kids go to school. We are all one community. If people are not doing good, the community is failing, and we're not going to go in a proper trajectory. NYCHA should be ashamed of themselves. They should have had a plan about this from last. Maybe they haven't had a plan before and they couldn't figure it out, but they have units in NYCHA. At one point, I read a report. Not, I did read a report. I think it was read online. 6,000 vacant NYCHA apartments. That's more than the vouchers. I said 52 before. That's 6,000, right? Okay, you might say that some of them are not
Up to
repaired.
standard.
You might
Yeah.
say it's not just okay. You had a whole year to do this, babe. You had more than a year to do this. It's not like the news came out of nowhere, like, oh, it's this the Sunday's fault. No, you had time to hire people to do this job. It didn't come out of nowhere for you to notice. It's not like, oh, oopsie, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
You had time to plan for this. And if you didn't need help because you couldn't find ideas, there's people like myself who could have helped you. Maybe that's the
Yeah.
problem. You have enough people on your staff who understand the struggle. Because I don't understand how this was you wasn't a blindsided, right? So I also it was a report that it was I want to say 500 or 600 apartments. I did a video on it TikTok. For the past 3 to 4 years or so, about 500 apartments or more had squatters in it. So you have time, and the reason why squatters are in there, most of the apartments are vacant apartments.
Vacant.
They're getting repaired or something's going on. So people have time to squat in it, but you don't have time to fix it to get people in there to live in the first place. You could have got money in your pocket, Nitya, and people were gonna be squatting in there. First of all, just get the squatters out, get them a place to stay too. That's a different story for another day. I'm not right now for the squatters, but they also need a place to stay. At the end of the day, nobody
They
should
could
be
have just
homeless.
moved them right in.
Exactly. At this
Do the
point, they have
paperwork
enough
and then
rights.
get them the vouchers. They had enough
Exact.
rights. And
Come
just get them
on.
vouchers. And like just because I think that there's like the bigger picture is there's the epidemic of homelessness and
Yes.
unhoused individuals, right? So it's like what level, what tier of unhoused are we talking about?
Right.
What level of an unhoused all all unhoused individual have the same problem. They're unhoused.
Right.
All homeless individuals have the same problem. They are without a home.
Exactly.
And whether you are in a physical home or not in a physical home, it's like still hierarchy of needs. You need a roof over your head. So those squatters, I'm just like, yeah, you need a voucher and you just needed a space to stay that was safe. So what
Exactly.
made you go there? So you went there because you were safe, because wherever you were before, you didn't feel safe. And where I was before, like survivors, where we were before the voucher, we were not safe.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. So NYCHA, all of these organizations that help with vouchers in New York City can change, can work and function better. It's a matter of if they want to. If they want, if, like, what are you doing? Do you want to function better? Do you want to get the funds in order to function better? We have NYCHA, we have FEPS. What's going on? Why is it that it's just this disconnect between really doing the work and doing what it takes to house New Yorkers. And it's not like one New Yorker is better than the next New Yorker. I don't think I'm better than any other unhoused individual. I think we
Right.
all have the same problem, but it is a problem.
Right.
And and because of the situation, because of all of the varying circumstances, that's why I'm voicing my issue from my point of view, or POV, like those kids like to say.
Right. Can you believe it?
Right. But it's all the same problem. Let's
In a, in a nutshell, we have an affordability problem in New York City. Thing honestly, it probably is not New York. I think it's honestly all over America. It's a problem. We just we can't keep up with the rents that we have to pay these landlords. And I understand for a landlord is a business, and I understand that they also have to live off of whatever the money they make. Some people are gouging the system. Some people are just a small mom and pop trying to make it pay their mortgage. It's all different people in between of this whole thing. And it's hard. It's
there's
hard to be
all
a landlord and get a letter saying you might not get rent. No, actually not you might not. You're not getting rent anymore. So you better figure it out.
or
That's
your rent
scary
is
too.
frozen.
Exactly. That's
Or your
scary
rent is
too.
frozen and you can't get equitable like, and then you're a small house, you're a small homeowner with a few units, 6 units, and then
Right.
it's like, oh, well, the person froze the rent because of there's this thing called DRIE or SRIE. And it's like a way where if you are disabled or a senior, where you can freeze the rent in rent stabilized units.
Right.
I don't think it only has to be rent stabilized. I think it can be unrent. I don't think it has to be rent stabilized, but in your unit, based off of your income, because you're a senior and because you are disabled, based on of income, of course, right?
Right.
Scale, right? And that's rough for the landlords as well.
Right.
To say, hey, I was counting on that money to make sure that the gas or the water bill or the heat,
Right.
right? There's many ways that tenants are not that savory either.
That's
I'm
true.
not blind to that.
Right.
Not at all. This is New York, huh?
And people are people.
People are people. And but it's and at the same time, there is a sweet spot in the middle
Right.
where everyone's needs can be met, where you can, as a homeowner or as a building management, can get incentivized to rent to people who have vouchers like, who have vouchers or low income, and say, hey, New York State, we're gonna incentivize you because you are because you are renting to low income families and you are trying to change what it looks like to live in New York.
Right.
So we're going to give you some tax breaks because of it, right?
Right.
I think there's ways to kind of like nudge people to do the right thing. There's ways to hold tenants accountable for not being so savory, and many ways to
It's
nudge
it's
tenants.
interesting. It's very
Right.
interesting. Homeowners, they get a little tax break. I don't think some people don't realize, like, they get a tax break. And some of these luxury buildings, because they're taking funds, they get a little break too because
Yeah.
they say they're gonna have, I'm doing quotes here. You can't see it because it's a podcast, but I'm doing quotes. They say they're gonna do low income housing,
Hmm.
and it's honestly not as low income as they're saying it's gonna be, but they're taking tax money from the city to build these places. Like, guys, we have to really look into these things. We need to keep these people accountable. If you're taking money from the city, it needs to be properly low income. We can't have a studio was $3,000. Like, and that's a shoebox. So if you know
Mhm.
New York City, everything is very small and compact here. So we need to hold the feet to the fire of these landlords. Yeah, they want money, but sorry, the other people who can afford the $3,000 for a studio, give it to them. The rest of us can't pay $3,000 for no studio. To be honest, we
I
can't afford that.
without incriminating the place or disparaging the place where I reside at, I'm going to talk about another place that I know that's similar to my place, but it's not, right? A
Right.
lot of these housing connect buildings and complexes were built on land that destroyed some of the lower income
Yes.
residents. So because you destroyed a whole neighborhood or like you had to demo a neighborhood, your the property that you have is going through Housing Connect. You have to put a percentage that like 30% or
Yes.
20% what that is dedicated
Right.
for disability,
Yes.
elderly,
Yeah.
low income households,
And people who live nearby in that
and
area
pe-
also.
right, and local residents,
Yes.
right? So you have those four demographics, and within those four demographics, the rent in that unit is way below market value to make up for the how many units of apartments that they got rid of prior
Right.
to or um um whatever building was existing before them.
Right.
But there's many discriminatory practices within the Housing Connect
There is.
um, uh, structure in itself. Because even if you are in, let's say, said building, I saw one that had where you would live in that building, and let's say you are in that 30% pile,
Right.
there's a ton of amenities that are
Yes.
available. And in order for you to access those amenities, maybe the first year it would be scaled because you are low income. And
Right.
then at year two, year three, then it will be boosted up to match the other units that are in your house, that are in your building.
Right.
And then at that point, you are unable, well, hopefully you will be able to, but
Right.
most survivors take them at least 3 to 5 years. I think that was the statistics, 3 to 5 years before they're able to like really like financially um reset
Right.
and gain stability after leaving their abuser, right?
Right.
Um, so you're still within that 3 to 5 year range. You're still on year two, right? To get some type of financial stability. And you are excluded socially from the place that you reside in. And so it could be the most beautiful palace or whatever, because those housing connect places are beautiful,
They are.
because they're new, they're shiny and new.
Right. Not built
But it's a
great, but they're
dis
shiny.
they're not built great.
You
No, no, no,
sneeze, a door's
not
blowing down.
don't. But but there's discriminatory practices.
Yes.
And it's like at that point, who do you complain to?
That's
Right?
true.
Who
Right.
do you say anything to? Because socially, it's like there's that social aspect where it's like, okay, well, I'm a survivor. I'm kind of let me stay to myself, right?
Right.
It's like this sense of never really belonging or no one really gets it kind of attitude sometimes, or at least I feel. Um, and it's a lot of buildings that there are a lot of housing connect buildings that has those kind of practices, those discriminatory practices, and it's seen as normal,
Right.
and it's not.
It's
Maybe money making, but
That's the problem. I've heard of one person saying that their amenities is like mandatory. Like some buildings that you have to pay it because it's a
You
part of the
have to
thing.
pay.
So it's not even considered part of the
It's not
fully
part of
the voucher because it's not
no.
a thing. So it's like you're paying the voucher money and you're also paying for this amenity, what might even actually be more than the vac you actually paying for rent because these
Yeah,
amenities can be expensive.
yeah.
So it's a
There's
many
some that
different
pass
things.
through it and then you
Yeah,
have to pay for it. And then there's some buildings that you have to pay for. And then what are we talking about? Like a foyer or like a printer service?
literally,
What are you paying for? And it is like I could go to the library for a printer. Like I'm saying,
literally.
I go to the library. What do you pay for? A pool? I'm sorry, YMCA has not the local parks have a pool.
That's true.
Like the beach.
But I'm not going in that
What do you
water. I'm
pay
not gonna
for?
lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I'm not going in that water. Not me.
You
That's
gotta
why
go
I
to
bring you up.
Rockaways. That little boat that goes to the Rockaways, like a $4 boat
Oh
ride, and it goes to the
God.
Rockaways. It's very beautiful.
I need to
hmm
try that. I need to try that.
No, it's such a beautiful little tour. It shows you like the whole High Line, like Manhattan, Brooklyn High Line, and then you end up in the Rockaways, and it's really beautiful. And they have some nice, yeah. Sorry, sidetrack.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. It's all about New
Yeah,
York. So if you
it's
you
all about New
heard,
York.
go to Rockaway.
It is go to the Rockaways.
What I get from this is New York can be pretty, but the system is dirty. That's what I get from that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're doing us
yeah,
bad over here, to be honest. They're doing us,
yeah,
it's rough. It's like they don't care about the people. And
no.
especially like I said before, we have young people, we have youth and runaway, youth and homeless runaways, right? Who are into
Mhm.
that program. And we have families who are just homeless, DV survivors. And I feel like there's one more group that was in there. I want to say veterans, but I could definitely be wrong. But it's like you have all these people who are going through so much, and this voucher for a lot of people was just like a saving grace for a lot of people. And for
Yeah,
you not to know that this program might be shut down because everything happened in the government and not to prepare properly for it is disheartening. So you just don't, it's like you don't care about the people. You just care about their rent money when it's coming through. That's what it seems like to me. You don't care about the people. And that's the thing we need to change. I feel like the system we, especially a lot of us pay into, needed to care about us a little bit more. And Stephanie told you earlier she had a child who's neurodivergent. She went through this trauma, and she has still gonna have to go to work. She still had to show up as to be a parent. She's still trying to take care of herself, and her kids are in school. Like these are not like, oh, it's just like, oh, a paper cut. No, this is a big world issues that's affecting this one person. She's a single parent, right?
while being disabled,
Yes,
while being hit, and it's like there's a terminology, it's like hidden dis hidden disability or
disability.
hidden
Yes,
disabled, right? So where you are disabled and people are looking at you, they're like, "Oh, all is well," and you are not okay.
that's the thing.
And it's frustrating when there's an expectation
Right,
and you cannot and you have to respect your own limits and your own boundaries. And that is it's the most frustrating thing because I know how brilliant I am. The
right,
thing that I value the most is education. And the frustrating thing is not having full access to that. Most frustrating thing is not having full access to that. So my biggest thing is that knowing how brilliant I I I I am and how much further I can continue to go and having to do that at a slower rate is excruciating for me.
um,
It's so frustrating. I'm really understating that. And then to still show up as a mom is a choice. Still
right.
show up as a survivor is a choice. Advocating is a choice. And it's choices that I make every day with a smile on my face, having faith believing, knowing that God is real, knowing that these systems that be, unless stories are told, unless people open their mouths and say something, that's the only way to create the change that I want to see in this world. I need to talk about my story. So somebody will hear this and say, hey, yeah, that is messed up. Let's make some changes to this.
Right.
How can we make this change? So thank you for giving me this space to do that.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing a story. Thank you for being vulnerable and showing us a little bit about your life. Obviously, it's not 100% because nobody should be doing that in general, but she's showing
Yeah,
us a part of her and how this thing is affecting us. I think a lot of times we have these cuts or something is going in and we're not really seeing the stories behind who is affecting. Like I said before, especially politicians, they think about just people as numbers and they want to like, what percentage and who is this affecting? If certain things affect one person, that's one person too many. If one person is homeless, that is a problem. We need to stop looking at things as if it's only affecting a big amount of people, we shouldn't matter. No, if it's affecting one person in our community, we should care about that. And we need to shift our mindset of how we care about people and not just think about, oh my gosh, no, if one person gets left behind in the community, it's a problem. And it's most times it's not like, oh, it's one thing if they had the mindset of just they leave me alone, don't bother me. But most time when people get left behind is because the community forgot about them. They want help, they don't know how to get the help or get themselves out of the mud. And we all need help at one point or another. We didn't come in this world learning how to talk, eat food. Like these are things we came in the
yeah,
world with. Our parents or whoever took care of us in the world got us to a point, and that was help from somebody else, right? We all need help even as adults. And if you need some counseling, hopefully I can put down the link down below, and if I remember to do that, because it's hard. It's really hard. It gets to you mentally how the system is draining us, how the government has failed us. And granted, some stuff in New York City are going pretty well, but other stuff is going in the gutter. And we need to stand up as a people for everyone.
yeah,
People
yeah,
who are higher up, they seem so far away from what's actually happening in reality of New Yorkers. We need to show them the average person's story and how we are affected and we want to see change. We're tired of seeing money going to things we do not care about. We're tired of seeing grandma and grandpa living on the street or in shelters because they don't have enough money to pay for their own space so they could feel free. We're tired of
yeah,
seeing kids getting shot. We're tired of seeing people get
yes.
left behind. We're tired of the foolishness. What are we
Mhm.
going to invest our money properly in the society to make sure we can run properly? We're tired. We are tired. Our backs are
Exhausted,
broken.
to
Exhausted. Exactly.
nauseam. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
tired. Like,
Exhausted.
it's
Absolutely, a
it's a
hundred
mess.
percent.
It's a mess. But thank you.
Nauseam.
Yes. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on and sharing your stuff. And hopefully we could get out to this action tomorrow. By the time y'all hear this, it's gonna be over, but I told you about it before in the other podcast with Christine Quinn. But there's supposed to be a rally tomorrow. Hopefully we get there. If we don't get there, we're there in spirit and in heart. We tried our best.
Yeah,
We can't be at everything. That's the thing. We
yeah.
need more advocates to help us out because we can't be we're only two people. We want
Only two
everybody to
people.
help. Only two people. This
Yeah,
Papa's bigger than us. I promise you. We need all
yeah.
your voices. All you to hear our voices.
'Cause-
We need all y'all to come up to the forefront and help a girl out. Okay?
yes, because your voice matters.
It
Your
does. Your
voice
voice
matters.
matters. No
Big
matter how
and
small.
small.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. A
Yes,
hundred
guys.
percent. It doesn't matter. Just come and speak, even if it's two words, even if it's a hello, and that's all you can give. It makes a difference. Even if it's just your presence, it makes a difference.
Yes.
I really believe that. And so yeah, that's me just seconding that. Yeah.
All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you for coming
Thank you.
on. And
You're
guys, follow us on
amazing.
social
Thank you so
media,
much.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. If you hear me on YouTube, definitely check me out. I'm gonna try to do more lives coming up this year. I think we did like one or two past year. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna get better with that, but I'm only a one person band. If you want to get hired, definitely come on because I need you. I need your help, please. I'm only one person right now working on a podcast. I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm answering
Yeah.
emails. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. If you join a team, we can go smoother. I promise you. And I won't be delayed on the emails if you do. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Bye.